Let's dive right into this explainer because we are starting with a pretty thought-provoking premise about our closest biological relatives. We share an evolutionary tree, this grand genetic blueprint, and a staggering amount of our DNA with the animals we're about to look at. But beyond just the sheer biology of it all, there's something much more profound hiding in the forests and jungles of our planet.
So it begs the question, how much of ourselves do we actually see in them? If we strip away our cities, all our technology, our modern anxieties, what remains of our core nature? Today, we're exploring the primate world not just as observers, but as distant relatives looking into a living, breathing mirror. We're going to uncover their intimate bonds, their incredibly complex societies, and the fragile future they face to see what it truly means to be part of this primate family.
Let's start with part one, the ties that bind. We're going to look at intimate caregiving, which is really the very foundation where the most fundamental social bonds are formed. Just take a look at this. Over in Sri Lanka, we have a tiny toque macaque sleeping with her eyes gently closed, completely enveloped in the golden fur of its mother. You can almost feel that slow, rhythmic breathing of deep sleep, right? The profound comfort of a mother's embrace completely transcends species lines. It instantly grounds us in this shared empathy. This isn't just instinct, this is undeniable tenderness, a sense of absolute security that every single one of us can recognize. And we see that exact same maternal tenderness here, just with a dramatic shift in scale. We've got a tiny, fragile gorilla infant resting safely inside this massively powerful, protective grip, just looking out at the world. It shows us that maternal tenderness is universal across the primate kingdom. Whether it's a delicate macaque or a heavily muscled ape, the mechanics of love and protection look exactly the same. But caregiving actually extends way beyond simple biology. In the Congo, a magnificent mountain gorilla is taking on the immense, exhausting challenge of cradling not one but twin newborns, which is super rare in the wild. And meanwhile, over in Borneo, we see something arguably even more remarkable. A surrogate orangutan mother voluntarily taking on the role of comforting and raising an orphan. They don't just raise their own, they're capable of adoption. They take on unexpected burdens out of deep, deep social compassion. Moving on to part two, society and survival. We're going to explore the complex structures these foundational bonds build into, because surviving in the wild requires a lot more than just a mother's love.
Talk about visual whiplash. We go from the serene, almost meditative calm of Japanese macaques gently grooming each other by a hot spring, which is this vital ritual to build trust and lower heart rates, straight into the chaotic, aggressive reality of chimpanzee warfare in Uganda. Bared teeth, intense screaming, absolute adrenaline. These animals are incredibly socially dynamic. Just like human societies, their communities are capable of both beautiful cooperation and terrifying organized violence.
The crucial takeaway here is that they absolutely must rely on deep physical and social bonds to survive the harshest environments on Earth. Look at these three golden snub-nosed monkeys. They are literally freezing, surrounded by snow, yet they form this tight, unyielding physical huddle. They're sharing body heat, yes, but they're also sharing trust. Without this tight-knit community reliance, survival in these extreme conditions would be biologically impossible.
And their social intelligence is truly staggering. Those bonnet macaques in India, they aren't just looking at a scooter. They are actively inspecting their own reflections in the mirror, which is a massive cognitive milestone. Equally impressive are the Bornean orangutans, engaging in the selfless act of sharing a piece of fruit. Recognizing yourself and choosing to share vital resources with someone else, those are the literal building blocks of empathy and society.
Now this one completely subverts our expectations. You're looking at a massive, incredibly powerful bonobo carefully and gently holding a tiny, fragile animal in its arms, like a pet. It proves to us that wild primates actually possess the emotional capacity for cross-species empathy. They have the cognitive surplus to care for a smaller creature purely for companionship, not for food. It is just a stunning display of emotional intelligence.
Which brings us to part three, the human reflection. Let's look at the colliding worlds where the primate kingdom directly intersects with our own. Because we don't just share a planet, our lives are becoming increasingly intertwined.
I want you to keep this rhetorical question in the back of your mind for this next part. When we look into their eyes, who is really looking back? It bridges that biological gap. Are we looking at a completely different animal, or are we looking at an ancient version of ourselves? This moment right here is breathtaking. It's known as the kiss through the wire.
A chimpanzee and an elderly woman sharing this deep, totally silent connection. Look at the intense focus in the chimpanzee's eyes, its lips gently pressed against the metal, and the woman mirroring the gesture right back. It captures an incredible moment of cross-species empathy. But honestly, it's also a tragic metaphor. That heavy metal chain-link fence is the physical, artificial barrier humanity has built, separating us from the natural world we came from.
The ways they interact with our world are vastly different depending on the species. While a monkey might sit comfortably in a Nepali temple window eating a human-made biscuit, cleverly adapting to urban chaos, many magnificent apes face a much more sobering reality. Like this orangutan being carefully held by a masked conservationist, many can no longer survive without our direct, dedicated intervention. They are entirely reliant on human guardians for their very survival.
If you take one thing away from this explainer, let it be this awe-inspiring moment. A man is chest-deep in a muddy, snake-infested river clearing away brush, and a wild, fully grown orangutan walks to the edge, leans down, and instinctively extends a helping hand to him. Think about the profound empathy required for a wild animal to perceive a human in potential distress and actively offer assistance. It's a stunning role reversal that completely shatters the illusion of human superiority.
But despite this incredible capacity for connection, there is a dark shadow hanging over their world. Human expansion is rapidly erasing the only homes they have ever known. This leads us to Part 4, a fragile future. We have to face the grim reality of our modern footprint and how these incredible animals are losing ground. Look at this heart-wrenching scene. And this is happening right now. A solitary orangutan, having lost its forest, walks out onto a fallen tree trunk and desperately tries to fight off the massive, unyielding metal bucket of a modern bulldozer. It is a terrifying real-life David versus Goliath scenario. But in this case, Goliath has a diesel engine, and David is fighting only with his bare hands to protect his home from absolute destruction. It's the tragic, violent collision of the natural world with modern industry.
And this is the devastating aftermath. An orangutan mother and her tiny infant are clinging desperately to a single, remarkably thin tree trunk. When the massive ancient forests are clear-cut and logged out, this is literally all that's left. Rapid deforestation leaves these incredible, intelligent mothers clinging to whatever fragile, tiny fragments of their world remain, just hoping against hope that the chainsaws stop before their last tree falls.
Which leaves us with this final haunting question. We've seen their capacity for love, their intelligence, their complex societies, and their undeniable empathy. They are a living, breathing reflection of our own evolutionary past. The question we have to answer now as a species is this: will our relentless expansion be their final insurmountable threat, or will our capacity for compassion, the very compassion we share with them, become their ultimate salvation? Thank you for exploring this vital topic with me today. Really take some time to think deeply about that reflection in the mirror.